Hello dear students, this is Munam Khan. I welcome you to my class. Today I will give you the class of the subject of English. And in the English question paper there will be 4 parts. In the third part there will be grammar. 5 questions completely on grammar. And the last topic, that means question number 13, is on the use of punctuation marks and capitalization. And here I will discuss completely on the rules of capitalization. That means where to use capital letters. Dear students, we have some learning objectives here. After completing this lesson, that means if you listen to this lecture well, at the end you will be able to explain the principles of capitalization, and you will also be able to list the rules for capitalization, and at the same time it will be very much easy for you to identify errors in capitalization. So a question arises, what is capitalization? It's very much simple, Capitalization refers to the use of capital letters. And if we look for a formal definition, then capitalization is the action of writing or printing in capital letters or with an initial capital. That means to start a sentence with a capital letter. And in English alphabet there are 26 letters. If we just look at the letters here on the screen from A to Z in capital form, that means when they are capitalized, then they are written in this way. They are also called, that means when you use capital letters, so capital letters are also known as uppercase letters. In the lowercase letters, they will look like this. Look at the screen. Small letters or lowercase letters will look like this. You have learned this. You learned this in class 1 or nursery or even before your schooling. Another question is there. So why is capitalization necessary? Capitalization is necessary to show readers the importance of specific words and to indicate change in meanings. That means if you don't use capital letters where necessary, the actual meaning of the writing of the passage or of the text will be distorted, will not be conveyed properly. That is why capitalization is necessary. Just for an example, I am showing you a passage without any capital letter. Look at this passage, at this text. At the end of this lecture, I will also show you this passage in proper format. That means in the proper way of writing with capital letters, small letters. Look, oh, I have made a terrible mistake, said Abra. That's not surprising, you're always making mistakes, said Ridwan. What have you done? I've forgotten to pay the bill of the coffee shop. No problem, let's have cups of tea and use the money. Rubbish, I can't do that. I'll pay the bill tomorrow and have cups of tea there with you, free of cost. Look, it looks odd. Without capital letters, this passage looks odd because this is not the system of writing or typing. So, where to use capital letters? Where to capitalize? Let's know some capitalization rules, and I hope they will help you much to use capital letters in proper places. So, what are the rules? Let's start discussing. Rule number 1. The first letter in a sentence. It's important to always capitalize the first letter of a sentence. This is perhaps the easiest and most straightforward of the capitalization rules, as there are virtually no exceptions or other complications. If it's the first word in a sentence, capitalize it. So I repeat, if it is the first word in a sentence, capitalize it. For example, Abra is a student. The sentence starts with Abra, and Abra, the word starts with letter A. And look, A is here, right? That means A is capitalized. If we didn't capitalize it, it would look odd and incorrect. Rule number 2. The the first word in quotations. You have another grammatical item in part C, that is narration, that is speech. In direct form, you see, I also call them quoted speech. You see that there are quotations. In direct speech, you find quotations. So the first word in quotations starts with capital letter. That means if the sentence is a quotation with the largest sentence, capitalize it, but only if it is a complete sentence. Keep it in mind. Only if it is a complete sentence. If it is merely a phrase that fits neatly into the larger sentence, it doesn't require capitalization. That means if it is not a complete sentence, just a phrase or a word, the first letter needs not to be capitalized. Here are some examples. The waiter said, "My manager will be here shortly." Look, the quotation, "My manager will be here shortly," is a complete sentence. We started with it with a capital letter. The "my" is a word, here M is capital. And not capitalized, look at the next sentence. The waiter told us that his manager would be here shortly, but he never came. So within the inverted commas, we find three words, "be here shortly" as a phrase, and the first letter was not capitalized. It's not necessary to capitalize it. We cannot use capital letters after colons or semicolons. Unlike words after quotation marks, words after colon don't need to be capitalized. Colons are often used before the introduction of a list. In this case, they are usually not introducing a complete sentence, and as such, shouldn't be capitalized. For example, here is her favorite reading materials: books, magazines, and travel guides. This is just a list, and in the list we find some materials: books, magazines, and travel guides. None of this starts with a capital letter. Next sentence. Consider packing the following items: bug spray, sunscreen, shampoo, and chopstick. None of this listed here starts with a capital letter. Similarly, if you generally don't capitalize after a semicolon, even though a semicolon can be used to separate two independent clauses, they are considered a part of the same sentence. That means two clauses in the same sentence. So the second clause only starts with a capital letter. Look, for example, in the first example, Dad has always been a strict disciplinarian. However, he made an exception this time. So the second clause, however, he made an exception this time, didn't start with a capital letter. Second sentence, Zoe wants to go to the park, and I told him I need to finish my work first. So Joey wants to go to the park. It is the first clause, and the second one is I told him I need to finish my work first. So in next clause, the second clause starts with a capital letter. Why? It is I. I is always used in capitalized form. And we have another rule here that will be completely on this. Rule number 3, titles of people. This one may seem obvious, but it's not as easy as it looks. Of course, you capitalize the first letter of a person's first, middle, and last names. Look at this line, Mahib, Tasnim, Tarif. But you also capitalize suffixes like Junior, the Great, or Princess of Power, Princess of Wales, and titles. So the name Mahib, Tasnim, Tarif, one name with 3 parts, 3 words. Each of the words starts with a capital letter. Titles can be as simple as Mr., Mrs., a doctor, but they also apply to situations in which you address a person by his or her position as though it were part of their name. That means Mr., Mrs., doctor, or different titles must be started with a capital letter. For example, when we capitalize, I'm writing my report on President Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln was a president of America, of the United States of America. Look, when he was a president. So, president was his title.